Well, hello. Welcome to the Tea with Tea, episode 4. Can't believe we're here already. And if you notice, I've got my laptop today, so it's actually a little bit more structured for once. Thank you for joining me. Today, I want to talk about feeling lost. Most of my life, I've felt lost or out of place. And it wasn't until recently that I realized that I'm just early or aware of life and what it should be versus what it really is. And a lot of the time when we start to feel lost, others around us make us feel like we're behind. Such as if you didn't go to college, get a degree, and then get a job in that field. Or if you're 30 years old, 30 something years old and don't have kids, maybe you feel a little bit behind because of how we're taught we're supposed to live life. But you're not behind. Everyone has their own path. Everyone has their own life and can live it however they want. Me personally, I did take some college classes online. Didn't last very long. School wasn't my thing. I was good in school. I got good grades, but it was never my thing. I was always bored. So I've realized that a lot of the time when I felt lost or behind, it's really just because I live in a system, and so many of us, I'm sure, that feel this way. We live in this system that really just hasn't caught up to us. We're ahead of the game. We're aware that humans chose to live life a certain way that doesn't resonate with us. It's not how humans are supposed to be living. Stacked on top of each other in these cookie cutter houses or apartments, literally stacked up on each other in apartments, and go to school, pay to go to school again, get a degree, get a job, have kids, and it's just like, what if that's not what we want? We're taught that an artistic career path is very unlikely. Less than 5% chance of being able to actually have a career in some kind of creative field, whether it be no matter what. It's funny because I'm actually kind of structured this time. As I said in the beginning, I have my laptop here with my notes for the episode, and yet I'm struggling more than I have in the past 3 episodes. I keep stumbling across my words. I'm like, oh, am I saying what I'm supposed to say? So maybe this is a sign that I shouldn't be more structured. And this is a lesson for me, but maybe it can be a lesson for other people too. Like, another thing that we're kind of taught is that you need to have a plan. You have to, work everything out and know how everything's going to work before it happens, before you do it. But maybe that's just not the case. Because my last 3 episodes, I did not have nearly as much pausing, hesitation, and we're only in the first few minutes of this episode. Live lesson here. Maybe you don't need to be so structured. Maybe you don't need to have everything figured out and know exactly how things are going to go and have exactly everything planned out how you think it should be, and just have an idea and let your creativity flow. That's what I did the last 3 episodes. And like I said in the last episode, I'm still learning how to edit and all that. So these aren't perfect episodes. These episodes are going to be the ones that I look back on years from now where I'm like, wow, I can't believe that's where I started. Look how far I've come. But you have to start somewhere. And I'm not afraid of doing that. I'm not afraid of starting here with my limited knowledge in editing and, learning how to do all of this. Even just structuring and the flow of these episodes, I'm learning all of that. And it's kind of cool to be learning that with all of you. You guys get to see me start and grow into something great or something visible. I'm already great. That's the thing. Everyone is already great. We already have greatness within us. It just has to be visible. First, it has to be visible to ourselves, and then it can be visible to others. This is kind of flowed off topic, but that's what creativity does. When you let yourself just flow, you allow your creativity to just take you wherever it's going to take you. And just in this short time that I've been recording, I feel like there's been multiple lessons or key points. And I'm actually really happy about it, even though it's not really related to what I planned out for this episode. And I do still want to talk about that because feeling lost and behind, I feel like it's such a big thing with people these days, or at least my generation. I'm not really sure about the younger ones. Wow, I feel old. I'm only 29. I turned 30 this year. Whew, dirty 30. But I've always had an older soul, so I've always gotten along with older people. Even typically the people that I gravitate towards romantically are typically older than me. But yeah, it can be very difficult feeling lost and behind compared to everyone else because they're living in a different reality. Although we all coincide physically in the same reality, mentally, we're all in different realities. We all live in our own personal reality. And a lot of people choose to conform to the collective reality, the collective mindset of the American dream, how life is supposed to be structured, how we're supposed to live. But when you see things clearly, before others do, before anybody else does really, or that's what it feels like, especially within your personal circle with those who are closest to you, when you feel like you see things clearly before they do, it can feel very lonely. It's almost like a period of grief that you go through, like grieving the life you once lived, being ignorant to awareness and what life really is. Once you realize we're all part of this same source, we all come from this source, therefore we all are source. And we all have source power. So if you want to call source God, we all come from God. Therefore, we all have God within us because we are God. Because we were created from it. We're all created from this same source. So why would we not have that power within us? Just like a baby that's born, they have the DNA of their parents. We have the DNA of our Creator. We have that power and that ability to see things the way they really are. But we have to choose to see that. That's why not everyone's awakened. That's why there's a collective reality where people just conform to what we're told we should be. But that's not how life should be lived. And you shouldn't feel any kind of negative way because you see life for what it is and other people don't. All you can do is become the best version of you. Focus on you, what you want, how you want to live, what you want out of life, what you want to see in the world. Focus on that. Focus on your internal, and the external just starts to conform to that. Which is why when we see the world as we go to school, we learn to obey, we pay to go to more school, get a degree, get a job in that field, have babies, retire, and die. When we're told that that's what our life is supposed to look like, that's what you're going to see, unless you choose to see it differently. And that's why growing up, we're kind of brainwashed, for lack of a better term, to believe that this is how life works, because when you believe that, you will see it. And when you believe differently, you won't see that. And I've known since I was a kid that this is not how life should be. I've known that I was meant for more, that I was meant to do things other than the structure of what they say human life should be. And it took me a really long time to really walk in that. I knew it, but I didn't embrace it. For a long time, I still worked in the system. I worked in corporate America and made pretty decent money, which I've talked about in previous episodes. Even though I didn't follow the path going to college and getting a job in that field, I still didn't follow my intuition. I did what I thought I had to do in order to survive in this world, being someone who didn't go to college. Get these soul-sucking jobs in corporate America that literally drain the life out of you. In order to pay my bills and have some money to do some extra things, buy myself some nice things. And you think that you're in a good place. You think that, oh, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but then before you know it, everything shifts because that's not what you're supposed to be doing. You don't need a stereotypical job, a 9 to 5, or to work in corporate America, or to conform to anyone else's idea of what your life should look like in order to survive. You don't need that. You only need that when you believe that that's what you need. And when I believed that that's what I needed, that is what I needed. I had no other way to pay my bills or support myself when I believed that that was the life I needed to live. But I don't believe that anymore. And I've survived for months not having a 9 to 5 because I believe that I can. Because all of us as humans, abundance is our birthright. We weren't put here to suffer and to work. That's not what we were put here to do. So when you realize that and believe that you don't have to live a life like that, you start to see new opportunities. And when you start to see those new opportunities, it may be scary to follow that path because typically those paths just show, hey, this is an option. It doesn't show you how it works, how long it'll last, or anything like that. There's no plan. It's just, this is an option. You choose to take that path and just trust that it's going to work out, and it does because you believe it will. But when you see this option, if you're kind of teetering on awakening, on the fence of still wanting to be in the matrix and not accepting life for what it really is and seeing life for what it really is, you might see that opportunity and say, let's try it, but I doubt it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work because of all the logical reasons. So it's not going to work. It's all about mindset. It's all up here. This is where life starts. In here. Life is mental. Quote from the Kabbalion. The all is mind. Life is mental. Everything starts here. But it doesn't happen instantaneously. That's the thing. I struggle with this. Let me rephrase myself. I used to struggle with this. This is something that I am coming in alignment with, that I'm harmonizing with, is my patience to see what I know to be true in front of me physically. I already see it in my head. I already believe that it's there for me. But it takes time. When you've lived a life a certain way for so long, it's going to take time to shift into the life that you really want, the life that you desire. Even though you know you're deserving of it, even though you know that it's there waiting for you, you can't physically see it here yet because things have to shift. So many things have to change. You have to lose people. You have to change the way you live, change the way you think. So many things have to change. But as you change, you start to see the things that will prove that your mindset is correct, that what you believe is true. Everything starts to unfold in front of you, just not as quickly as a lot of people want it to be. And for me, I believe this is why I haven't had much growth, or as much growth as I would like, on social media yet. Because I was in this mindset of, I have to grow, I have to grow, I have to grow. Like those grow rooms on TikTok where you literally join the room and you all just kind of follow each other so you guys can grow, get 10,000 followers so you can join the creator program and start making money and all that, right? That was my mindset at first. I used to join those grow rooms, but it just didn't feel right. I was like, why am I doing this? I'm forcing this. I don't want to force it because I actually want to reach people who want to receive my message. I don't want random people to follow me who have absolutely no interest in my content. They just want to follow back. Like, that's just not for me. And if that's what you do, no hate. You know, a lot of people have become very successful that way. So go for it. If that's what you feel drawn to, do it. Seriously. Whatever you feel drawn to, whatever lights a fire under you, whatever feels right, whatever your intuition is telling you to do it. And if that's going into these grow rooms, do it. Because they work. They do. For certain people, they just don't work for me. And that's okay. I'm okay with being a slow grower. I mean, I'm almost 30 years old and I'm just now creating the life that I want. I'm just now living life the way that I want to actually live it. So, of course, it would take time for me to actually flourish within this life because I'm still changing my mindset on so many things. And I hope that anyone who tunes into my podcast or watches my content, any of my videos on any of the platforms, will see my growth. People who have followed me from the beginning, years from now, will be like, wow, even though it took time, she really did it. She really grew just like she said she would, because I want to do it organically. Even if I'm never, as big as these people with millions of followers, it doesn't matter. I want to create this community that is awakened. People who connect with my content, who actually receive something from my content. And if you don't, that's okay. My content's not for you then, and that's okay. That's why I'm okay with where I'm at with social media. I don't need millions of followers to feel fulfilled. No, I just want to reach the people that I'm supposed to reach. That's it. And it shouldn't matter how much money you're making. I know we have bills to pay and all that, but it shouldn't matter how much money you're making, how many people see your work, or how many people you interact with. It shouldn't matter. As long as you're doing what makes you happy, that's all that matters. Nothing else should matter. Because when you do what makes you happy, what truly makes you happy, not what you think will make you happy, if you question it, don't do it. When you do what your intuition calls you to do, what truly makes you happy, everything else falls into place. Everything else falls into place. As soon as I started actually following my intuition instead of fighting it, because of all these logical thoughts of how could that possibly work because of XYZ logical explanation. No, it doesn't need to make logical sense. All you need is to know that it will make you happy, and everything else will fall into place. That's how I ended up where I am now. That's why I don't panic about bills and how I live my life and how I'm going to survive, because it's just going to work out. I'm following what makes me happy and what I feel called to do. And that's what matters. So if you get nothing else from this video, from this podcast, just know that you're not failing at life. You're just refusing to sleep through it. You're refusing to walk around like these zombies of the people who live in the Matrix, who live the way that they're told they should live. You're not failing. You're not behind. You're not lost. You're just not on the same path as the majority. That's all. And that's okay. That's actually amazing when we realize that we all have our own path and we take that by ourselves, as scary as that may feel, to walk this path completely alone. When you choose to do that instead of walking with the masses, life opens up in a whole different way. You can do so much more in a day without feeling exhausted because your energy isn't being harvested by the powers that be. So follow your intuition. If you feel lost, take that as a sign that you're on your way. You're finding your path away from the masses. And I love that for you. Because looking back, feeling lost all these years, I wish I would have just went with my gut and found my path sooner, but everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. It took me this time for a reason. There were lessons I had to learn. There were experiences I needed to have before I got here, or I wouldn't be here right now. And the same is true for you. You have to learn certain things, you have to experience certain things in order to get where you need to be. So just let life happen. All these things that may seem negative, these experiences you go through that seem heartbreaking, are for a reason. As cliche as that sounds. I recently went through a kind of traumatic experience, and I tried so hard to be like, you went through this for a reason, don't be upset about it, kind of thing. But that's the wrong way to go about it as well. Allow yourself to feel. You're allowed to feel upset. You are human at the end of the day, or you're a soul, you're a being having a human experience. Allow yourself to feel the feelings. Acknowledge them, and then let them pass through you. Let them move on. Once you allow that to happen, once you allow that process of feeling and acknowledging and releasing, even though you may have those negative thoughts again, like, why did I go through this? Why me? It's so much easier to be like, there was a lesson in that. And for me, my lesson was to stop trusting people so quickly. People present themselves to be a certain way, and they may wholeheartedly believe that they are that version of them that they're presenting to you. But then you're put in situations where they're obviously not that person. No matter how much they want to be, or act like they are, or talk like they are, they're not. And they prove it by their actions or lack thereof. So my lesson was to stop trusting so quickly, to observe and allow myself to really understand and believe people when they show me their true colors, and to love myself enough to remove myself from that situation, to cut certain people off when they're draining you of your energy, whether they realize it or not. Because people will siphon your energy if you allow them to, whether they realize it or not. You can get hurt by people who don't realize that they're hurting you. And I'm sure you've hurt people that you don't realize you've hurt, just like I have. But everything happens for a reason. We all learn these lessons for a reason. Anyways, I say all of this to say that life can seem really unstructured and crazy and like we have no control. But we do. And it all starts here. I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it. You change your mindset, you change everything. It just won't happen in a second, though. You have to be patient. Let's be patient together. Because this is something I'm still working on as well. Well, I love you, love yourself, and let's grow together.